Hello everyone, welcome to Rockshire Gaming. My name is Eric. Today we're going to be doing a Kickstarter review slash preview of Dungeons of the Oak Dell, a brand new roll and write print and play game from Two Acorns Games. This game is going to be launching on September 17th. If you are interested in it, we will have a link in the description to the Kickstarter page. But this is a pretty cool game where you are an adventurer diving into a dungeon, exploring for loot and taking out monsters. It is inspired by older PC games like Eye of the Beholder and Dungeon Master, as well as roguelike games where the difficulty of the dungeon that you're going through is going to increase the deeper into the dungeon you get, and we'll kind of show how all that works as we go through this review of how the game is played. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see what this game is all about. So as you can see, we do have everything set up here for a two-player game. You can also play this game solo. The way the dice work and a bunch of other things are very similar between the solo game and the two-player game, so the game does have that going for it. Does play up to 4 players, so you can have 4 adventurers going through the dungeon. Each character sheet is unique, meaning that each player does pick a character sheet at the beginning of the game, and whether or not you're playing as the barbarian, you're going to have different starting skills as well as different skill unlocks as you go through the game compared to like the ranger. Also, the different armor that you find throughout your dungeon as you are playing is going to be different. It's going to give you different bonuses and skills and all that kind of stuff. So again, they did go through and try to make the experience unique depending on which character you're playing. They're not just kind of throwing like generic characters at you in the game. Everything is pretty unique, from the artwork to what the different equipment does. So that was pretty awesome. So we do have our character sheet starting out. Each player does have their map right here, and the map is going to determine quite a few things. One, it's going to determine what kind of items and whatnot are on the ground. The different tiles in the map are going to determine whether or not you're drawing a level 1, a level 2, or a level 3 monster as you're getting closer and closer to your various objectives in the game. And it's also going to determine the number of rounds in the game. In the scenario slash map that I have on the board, we do have these hourglasses here, and that is going to determine the number of rounds. On this map, there are 7 rounds. Each round is split up into a series of turns. Each player is going to have 3 turns, which is determined by the amount of dice that we're going to be rolling. And then each turn itself is going to have 3 phases, which again, we're going to explain all that here in a minute because it can get slightly confusing, but I assure you it absolutely is not. Once we have all this stuff set up, we are going to draw a monster for each player at the start of the game. Both of these players right here are going to be fighting against the Ghost. Ghost is a pretty basic introductory character, but other characters are going to be a lot more difficult. They're going to have things that determine where you can hit them, effects they have when they hit you or when you hit them, or do any various things to them. So like I said, each monster is pretty unique as well. So now that we got everything set up here, we're going to go ahead and start what would be the first round of the game. And what we do at the beginning of the round is we roll a series of dice. The instructions will tell you based on a 1 to 2, 3, or 4 player game how many dice you roll, but at the end of the day, it's basically going to be that a number of dice are rolled, and then each player in turn order is going to draw 1 die. So during the course of the round, you will have drawn 3 dice. So let's go ahead and determine with what we have here. So for the 1 to 2 player game, we do have 3 white dice and 3 black dice. So we're going to go ahead, roll those, and whew, that is going to be pretty interesting. So we're going to take all 3 of these ones and we're going to put them right here, because the black 1 here, the black dice 1 there. Over here, we're going to have the 2 6s right there and the 4 right there, and that's going to determine a few things in the game. On your turn, you are going to draw 1 of these dice. So if I was going first and I wanted to draw this 4, I'm going to go ahead and do that and place it with my stuff. The 4 is going to determine how many steps into the dungeon I can move. It's going to determine where I'm going to start my attack on the monster, and it is going to determine with which dice the monster is going to attack me at that phase of the game. So let's go ahead and do that. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and move 2. You do have to use all of your movement, so you can't just move 1 square and be done. You do have to move, in this case, both steps of movement. The white dice are going to allow you to move either 1 or 2 spaces, whereas the black dice are going to allow you to move 3 or 4 spaces. So in this scenario right here, since I grabbed the 4 from this spot here, I'm going to move 2 spots. And so from outside of the dungeon, I'm going to move in 1. And I think I'm going to go ahead and continue forward and move 2. So this is where I am going to be right now in the dungeon based on that die roll. If I would have grabbed one of the other die, I could have moved farther into the dungeon. If I would have moved up forward, I would have gotten this yellow potion, and I would have been able to collect it and add it to my character sheet, which to do that, you just circle one of the spaces down here, and that shows that it is now in your inventory. The other things that are on here are traps. If you do walk through a trap on your turn, you are going to take the corresponding damage for that. However, you end your turn on a trap, you are not going to take damage. So now that my player has gone and made their first move, the next thing to do is going to attack. I do have this ghost right here, and since I did draw from the 4 slot and I've already moved 2, I'm going to actually attack from the yellow circle. If we look on our monster sheet right here, I do see that I have 1, 2, 3 yellow circles on the monster sheet. That's going to determine where I'm going to start my attack, and basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drawing a line from the circle that you've designated to one of the other colored circles on the board. Unfortunately, I cannot take my ruler and measure and figure out which one I want to go to. There are potions that do allow you to do it, but you basically have to go ahead and determine which space you are going to draw a line to on your turn. This is actually pretty innovative as far as the combat system goes, because basically what you're doing here is when you're drawing a line on your subsequent turns, you will be drawing another line and hopefully crossing over a line you've already created. And hopefully that cross point is over top of the monster, because that is the only way to damage the monsters. You have to draw a line and then draw another line on the board, and as long as they intersect and hit and over top of the monster, that's going to be a hit to the monster. So let's go ahead and draw our first line. So I think what we're going to do is go from this yellow right here, and you know what? I think we're going to go all the way over here to this green. So basically I'm going to take my marker right here. Whoa, lost my pen. And then we're going to draw a line over here to our green. So I have this line that goes right over the monster. Since I don't have an intersecting line, I'm not going to be able to damage at this point. But one of the other things I did was I did draw over this shield. This goes to the whole skills aspect and collecting skills as you're going through. So now that I've drawn over that shield, I can just go over here on my character sheet and I can circle this heart right here. These skills over here are your basic skills. This column right here determines additional damage that you can inflict on your turn. These skills right here are going to allow you to do extra strikes, and the ones underneath the shield are going to allow you to block extra damage. So also in this case, I have connected to a special skill. So I can go ahead and mark that one as well, and that one is ready to go for me when I'm ready to use it. So now that I have done everything here utilizing the monster sheet, I am now ready to actually have the monster attack me. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to take the die, we're going to go ahead and roll the die, and I rolled a 2. Looking at the monster sheet right here, when the white die rolls a 1 or a 2, it actually doesn't damage me. So I've actually lucked out on this turn, so I'm not going to take any additional damage. If I did take damage, I would have marked it on this bottom row right here, and if the amount of damage hearts equals the amount of hearts I have above that, then I'm going to lose the game, or I'm going to be killed. So I've run through the first player's dungeon phase, which was the movement, the attack phase, which is me attacking the monster, and then the monster phase, which is going to be the monster attacking me. I'm going to go ahead, breeze through the second player. I'm going to say that they took this black die and did their turn, because I want to get back to my character over here. What I'm going to do next is take another black die right here. And I'm actually going to put my white die up there, but we're going to take my black die right here, and we're going to go ahead and go through that turn. I'm going to go from here, and I think I'm going to go 1, 2, and then turn 3 right here, based on the fact that the black 1 came from here, and I'm going to take that 3. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use that blue circle to attack the monster. So what I'm going to do with that blue circle is I think I'm going to go from this blue dot right here, and I think I'm actually going to go to the other blue dot here and draw my line and go from there. Now, as you can see, I finally intersected a line right here. So now I'm actually going to be able to do 1 damage to the monster. So what I'm going to do now then is go ahead and mark on the monsters sheet that we have done 1 damage because of 1 intersection on the monster. If then on a subsequent turn, let's say I went from this red dot to this red dot, and drew a line, that would cause another intersection where basically I've crossed over this line, and on that turn I would do 2 damage. So as I said before, the combat system in this game is pretty innovative and kind of interesting because of the fact that depending on where you're attacking from, you may not actually end up hitting the monster at all, or you could hit the monster, unlock different abilities, as well as unlock different items as you're going through. The ghost itself is actually pretty basic, but other monsters such as the mimic do require you to hit the creature on like its arms and legs, but if you're able to hit the mimic in its like where the chest is on the mimic, you can do that enough times before the mimic loses all of its health from hitting the fleshy areas, then you'll actually gain like equipment and stuff like that. Different monsters have different points that you can hit. There's one monster that you can hit its chains, and when you're doing that, it increases its damage does to you, all that kind of stuff. So it can have detrimental effects, it have beneficial effects to you. There's a whole sorts of different things on there, and even the version of the game that I have, and again, this is all in development completely as far as like monsters and all that stuff goes, but even that, there is a wide variety of different monsters and abilities and whatnot in the game to keep your group coming back for more with that. So once you have completed your turn there, and let's say you went ahead and did a 3rd turn and completed that, that would be the end of the round. When you do have the end of the round, you mark off your hourglass there, and then you start again with gathering the dice, rolling them again, and then starting all over again with the dice being placed on different parts of the dice sheet. You will do that until the end of the 7th round. If no one has completed the scenario objective by the end of the 7th round, then everybody basically loses. The main scenarios that I have in the copy that I have is to either kill the boss at the end, which is over here, or on a different map going through and destroying different shrines within the dungeon. And again, in those 2 scenarios, the dungeon is actually different than, as far as the way that it's designed and everything like that. So you are going to have different variety even with dungeon layout and all that kind of stuff. So again, the game does have a lot to offer. I would definitely recommend checking this out. I've actually been having quite a good time with playing through the game, getting everything set up. This is actually one of the first print and play games that I have actually ever done. I usually don't look at print and play games, but this is actually pretty cool. I've been enjoying it, so I would encourage you guys to take a look at it. So as I said before, the campaign is going to launch on September 17th. It's going to last for 2 weeks on Kickstarter. They are going to be doing a day 1 gift, so make sure to check out the campaign early. Again, link is going to be below in the description for that. Price wise, it states on there that's going to be about €6 or €12 depending on the version of the game you get if you are here in the US. Conversion rate, it's about 6 something, so it's gonna be probably closer to $7 or $13 depending on the version of the game you get. And they are gonna have different competitions for backers, all that kind of stuff throughout the campaign, so I would encourage you to check all that out. I am actually pretty excited for this game. What I have been able to play of it has been pretty cool. I like the combat system, the dungeon exploring, all of that kind of stuff. The fact that even with the different maps, there's like a regular mode, there's an easy mode one with another round, there's the version where you have the shrines that you're going after instead of going after the main boss. The skills are pretty cool, the potions, everything like that. I'm enjoying the game. I've had it for a little bit of time now, and I have been liking it. The dice system, the combat system is pretty cool. I can't say more than enough good things about it. So with that said, I would encourage you guys to check that out. Go ahead and check out the page. It will be down below in the description. And that is going to be all from me. So thank you for taking a look at this preview of Dungeons of the Oak Dale from Two Acorns Games. I have been Eric. This has been, again, Dungeons of the Oak Dale. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.